trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Don't forget I got memories, dead stain the whole room if I let him bleed. Shit was dark, I let this little light him out.
Oh, he be trying to come in here and fuck me up.
That's the kill. Like I should. The thing is, have I ever showed you my floors? Like she has literally ripped the carpet up off the floor one time.
Damn.
From closing the door. It's gone, bro. Matter of fact, I know I still got it. I got the ones when she did the original damage. Bro, when you look at this shit, like I was so defeated when I came home one night to see what she did, bro. Cause she's okay in the jump. Like I used to go to Wawa to get my coffees in the morning, and I would just leave her in this room that I'm in now, before I built it up, and she was good for like 20 minutes. One time I was like, I'm gonna just leave her in here overnight. Oh, here we go. I'm about to send it to you right now. I'm gonna send it to you, and I'm gonna show the stream too. Where are you at? This shit is cool. Crazy, bro. He was not playing. He was not playing. All right, now how do I can send it. Hold on. I should be able to send it through my phone to the chat. And the message, yeah. All right, bet. Yeah, I'm about to send it to the chat too. Bro, that shit was crazy. All right, where is
pissed?
Bro, I was so mad, but it's like at the same time, it's like, what can I do? Like this was for context purposes. This is with me and her. Like we're still just getting to know each other. Like I just got her, so she destroyed that junk. All right, whatever. Hold on. I didn't pay, man. Ain't no way I didn't pay. I just sent it to you. Oh, there you go. Boom. All right, that's crazy. So listen, let me go ahead and show everybody.
Damn.
This is what my damn dog did. I'm in the wrong scene anyway. Here we go. This is what my damn dog did. This is incredible. I'm gonna show you. Just take a look. So for context purposes, again, like y'all heard me. Everybody that's in here now. Context purposes, I left her in this room. I gave her the space. I didn't want to put her in a crate. I had this big ass crate that she just did not like. And it took me some months to just figure out she just don't fucking like crates. Left her in this room, and she dug up got to the floor, the base of the floor, bro, under the carpet, under the phone, whatever that shit is, bro. Like so, if I close, and I say that to say, if I close the door, she gets to digging and scratching some more, trying to get in the jungle. So it's like, what can I really do? What can I really do? Where is this thing at?
That's that separation anxiety.
No, it really is. Does this work? Oh Lord. I'm over here experimenting. I'm about to put my camera back on. Fuck it. All right. So listen, man, Dre, how you feeling tonight, bro? Everything good with you, man? The people don't know, but you talk to me. But how you feeling? Everything good?
Yeah, like we were just talking about before we started it. Man, shit, work is kicking my ass right now. I'm just glad it's about to be the weekend. And honestly, this is the last weekend without real football for months. So I am, pumped for that. Like, get this weekend over with, because next week is the first week of college football. So it's, time to get your checkbooks out.
Okay.
Yeah. Only a couple of games though. I think it's like 2 or 3 games on next week. And then after that is the full slate of games. But start getting your checkbooks out. Degenerates, get ready. It's time to go down to Cat One Sportsbook or wherever you put your bets at. Start getting some real football now, and to hell with the preseason shit.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I didn't even know. I mean, obviously, we always know college football starts before NFL, but I never. Right. I'm not used to this week 0 shit that started being implemented, and apparently I guess that's week 0 next week, I would imagine.
I suppose so.
Yeah, those couple teams, man. So listen, bro.
Yeah.
Work. I'm gonna avoid the long ass story, but what I will say is, I'm gonna ask you, so we don't have to worry about the actual the whole entire situation. have you ever dealt, because both of us are in the federal government, have you ever dealt with snitches? Like, plain and simple. Have you ever dealt with people who would, without a doubt, or excuse me, not even without a doubt, you just didn't see it coming. Like people who you didn't expect to snitch or tell on you about anything. Like whether it's a strong negative or just something as simple as, you know, you supposed to do something one day and forgot, and they still told on you. Like, have you ran into those people yet in the government?
Yeah, I mean, any kind of work setting like that, you're definitely going to run into them. That's why you'll learn pretty quickly in the government is that don't trust anybody with personal information or whatever, anything, you know, because people run their mouths, man. Like, you know, they might seem like they're cool, they chat you up. That's why if they ask me what I did over the weekend, I did nothing. I could did 30 things, but I did nothing. So, you know, I mean, and then you got the email bully, your bosses and everybody. So you'll deal with all of that, you know, working in the government.
Dre.
Dry snitching too. That's what we call it.
Yes, dry snitching. That's literally what I call it. Bro, when I tell you it was this guy who shall go unnamed, this man, I don't even know him. And so for those who don't know, I am an auditor, and part of the auditing process, a lot of people think about the financial auditors and stuff like that when you think of an auditor, and like they're assholes and just like real sticklers, I guess is the word. It's not always the case. But more importantly, we go through a extreme vetting process to make sure the information that we put out is accurate and backed up by facts and research and all this stuff. So I say that to say, a part of that process is an independent party coming in and checking the work that we've done over the course of the audit by the time we're ready to put our report out. And this guy this was the person I'm speaking of, is the independent party. This guy takes a look at our work for a couple hours. It's a really extensive process. I give him that. This thing takes days to do. Sometimes it can take up to a couple weeks to do. He goes and talks about our work and a particular section. In that particular section, I was responsible for it. So he didn't put any names in the email, but he talked to the senior analyst on the team. I'm not the senior, but he talked to her. But not only that, he CC'd our boss. He CC'd our boss's boss. He CC'd his boss. He CC'd senior staff members. He CC'd everybody you can think of. He CC'd the people who runs the application that we work out of. He CC'd everybody, bruh, and said that this goddamn report is terrible. He just emphasized it. And when I found, and the issue is, like, he did all that, I wasn't even on the email. I had no idea he did this. I had no idea he did this on last Friday. Yeah. And I found out on fucking Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. when I was already in the office for 3 hours. Or I clocked in for 3 hours already. So I'm like, I'm just finding this shit out. And I was so shocked that this happened. This is the first time it's happened to me here. Like, it's happened before, but like this type of work is way more important than anything I've ever done. So like having that type of reputation or perceived reputation in front of the people that he CC'd, bruh, that shit was crazy, bruh. And it's crazy stressful. I'm not going to lie to you. So I found that out. And again, like I said, I'm going to do a long story short, because today turned out, like, as I was stressing over that shit, it turned out that while I did fuck up on one instance, it wasn't to the extreme in which he did it, but also he ended up getting kicked off the project because of like how he handled himself and how negative he was towards the project that was never even that big of a deal. Like everything, there was nothing that was really wrong with our project outside of the normal stuff, but he just never wanted to do it. Therefore, he was creating issues and CCing everybody in these emails. Like that wasn't the only email that he sent. He sent like multiple, but he would always CC senior management and upper people to try and talk down or speak negatively on the team. So it
backfired on him.
It backfired. So like I said, work has been hell these past couple of days, man. 1,000 meetings, rightfully so, because we're stressing out about the shit that he's saying. But we end up realizing that he was really just he had no intention on fucking helping us getting this report out, bro. So that's what I've been going through on my end, man. It was crazy. I don't know if you can share yours or if you could, but that shit, bro. If y'all are listening and y'all in the government, bro, Dre is 100% right. I've been aware of that, but coming across a person that you don't know, and even still you don't know, he don't know you, and that motherfucker is snitching on you. That was the first time that's ever happened to me. Ever. I've been in the government for 11 years. It's never happened.
Well, that serves him right, man. Like I said, he got his ass kicked off the project, and he tried to. You gotta hate people like that, because
absolutely.
He can CC everybody in the world, but he couldn't CC the main people he was talking about. Like, come on, man, that's some coward shit, man. Won't you,
It's only 3 people on the team. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's 3 people. You don't have to CC 11 people that's not even on the team, or however many people he CC'd. You can CC that senior analyst and the other 2 people who've been working closely to the project, and that would be me, and that would be the other lady that's on our team as well. That's fucking crazy, bro. Fucking crazy.
Hey, but it's all right, man. Like I said, because you'll bounce back. But now his ass, he made himself look like a fool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Luckily for him, he got tenure. So he's been here since '89, apparently. That motherfucker just an old grump. I swear I wish I met him, bro.
He's at that disgruntled stage of his career.
I wish I met that man, bro, because I had some words for him when this process was over. I wasn't holding back either, and I'm still not holding back, even if he there or not. I'm talking as soon as we do our round table and recap our experience. He's gonna be the first thing I talk about is the shit that he pulled. That's gonna be the first thing, bro. Oh my god, yeah, man. So, I think there was a few things, because we can go ahead, I guess, and get into this watching football while we're waiting on our guy Mike. Mike he's wrapping up his show, and he's going to join us shortly after his show ends, so we can preview these 4 W's and talk about a quick 20-minute anticipation or some critical thinking questions for this show, or for the game that's coming up tomorrow against the Cincinnati Bengals. There has been some recent news, Dre, I guess we can recap. And more importantly, we found out that Sammis Reyes is out. Since we last was on the show, Sammis Reyes is out with a concussion. So he won't be playing he won't be playing tomorrow. But secondly, with Hemingway out, this is an interesting situation, I think, at the tight end position. Do we even expect Logan Thomas? I understand starters, there's going to be a game where starters get a lot of time, and I assume Logan's going to get some time here, but are we going to expect Logan to play such a decent amount of time versus actually getting John Bates some work with some of the better players on the Bengals, like the first stringers and second stringers?
Well, I think that's a great point you brought up, because that's the first thing that popped out to me once I heard those 2 names were going out. I said, okay, this means more John Bates. I don't think it necessarily means more Logan Thomas. I think it definitely means more John Bates with some of the guys that matter on the offense. And also, you still have 3 guys left. They just signed a guy, I think, this week, Caleb Wilson. So they'll have 3 guys outside of Logan Thomas that'll play a lot. And you'll probably see Bates, Seals, Jones, and Wilson get the bulk of the snaps, even though I think Logan will play as long as the starters go. But I don't think you need to play Logan any more than the rest of the starters, because you still have, like I said, the other 3 guys. And like I said, this is a great opportunity for John Bates, man. And as far as Sammis Reyes goes with his concussion protocol, luckily for him, he had a really good showing last week, blocking, and he, made a name for himself in Ron Rivera's eyes. Ron Rivera said he's probably the most physical tight end they have on the roster. So because of that performance, even with him being hurt for the second preseason game, I don't think he's in any danger. I don't think this injury hurts him right now.
Yeah, I don't think the injury hurts him either. I think, though, he's in a situation where I don't know if he can really afford to miss another game, which would be the last game. I don't know if he can really afford it. And even though we know what we saw, I don't know if other teams would be willing to take that chance on him. And what I mean by that, I mean, it'll work for him in terms of like us being able to sign him to a practice squad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in a sense for him to make the 53, which would be important and pretty big for a person like him coming from where he came from, and his background, I don't know if he can really afford to miss another game. And because you seen some good, but you didn't see enough with Sammis Reyes. So right. I'm not entirely... I'm a fan of him now, man, because we don't have those type of blockers. We talked about it Tuesday. The inline blocking with the tight end position is not really good. And to see somebody who came out like that in his first ever game exhibition to kill somebody like or kill the defenders the way he did in the run game, it was really good. It's really good to see somebody maul somebody at the tight end position. So I don't know, like, do you think he can afford it to miss 2 games and still be okay? Because I don't know how they're going to treat his concussion situation.
Yeah, that is a more interesting question, and I do think you have a point there, because I think the assumption is that, you know, if he plays in 2 games and he kind of shows what he showed on tape the first game, then you wouldn't be able to hide him. But if he misses these the next 2 games, I mean, with a game along with the one he'll miss tomorrow, then you have a very, very small sample size of what he put on tape in that first game. So at that point, that's when you'll start questioning, okay, you know, was it a fluke, or, you know, is this guy worth, you know, putting on our active roster for another team? So I do think that if he was to miss the last 2 preseason games, I think you have a better chance of hiding him on the practice squad versus if he was to put out more tape and look like he did in the preseason game 1 in both games.
Hey, it sounds like you're saying they got a business decision to make. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, if he misses both games, then that's, like I said, I think you have a better chance of hiding him if you do miss both games. But again, also, I don't know how much in demand he was, because I had never heard of him. Obviously, most of us never heard of him when we assigned him.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it was kind of one of those things, like, you know, in baseball, you'll have like a Dominican Republic prospect, and a lot of teams will be interested in the guy, and you'll have one MLB team sign him. I wonder, was it a situation with Sammis Reyes where we weren't the only team that was interested, but we were the team that hopped on him first? So if that's the case, it may be a little bit more difficult to hide him, because other teams are going to, you know, even look at that one preseason game and say, well, we had interest in him before, maybe we'll sign him. You know, this is a guy we'll take a chance on.
So right now I am Googling after how many offers did he get? Oh,
That's
man.
A good question.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now to see if what we're talking about, July 28th. No, I don't need nothing from July 28th. I need something a little bit further back. How many offers try out NFL? It's really not saying.
It's not saying? Yeah, that's what I said. I wasn't sure, like I said, because I mean, because I feel like we wouldn't be the only team that was interested in the guy, like, you know, especially if he had a tryout for multiple teams. I feel like I feel like it would be hard for me to believe we were the only team that's seen something in him.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and retire this search. I'm gonna go ahead and retire this search.
Turn it nothing over there.
Yeah, nothing. They're talking about the NBA, so or the basketball. So I'm failing to do my research, my quick research, which is cool. It's cool. All right. So look, the other set of news is that William Jackson III, like heading into the season, or excuse me, heading into the year post free agency, of course. We kind of imagine what William Jackson III is going to be for this team. The issue now is not that he's a bad player, but there are some rumors and rumblings now, Dre, that, you know, it's taking him some time to develop into what he wants to be or what he needs to be in this defense. So I'm gonna turn it over. Matter of fact, to help you out, I'm gonna go ahead and get a quote going from Ron Rivera. This is gonna be a little bit lengthy, so you go ahead and sit back. If you got a drink, take a sip. But here we go. On William Jackson III and why they went for him. And he mentioned at the end of the day, you got to go out and get talented players, and you do it because there's certain things you want to be able to do with your defense. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at what he can do, how he can help impact and change things. So we're not going to sit here and say, oh, we're going to turn him into a strictly zone corner. We're going to use his abilities at the same time. We want to find out if we can get him to do some of these things, because you don't want to just sit there and line up and play man every play or play zone every play. You want to have that flexibility. I'm gonna try and skim through the just the fluff of it. I was in man. We don't want to be able to do that. We want to be able to change it in terms of their coverages and make people try to guess and understand now and not understand what we're doing. That's why you find players with tremendous athletic ability and great skill sets. If we can do that now, it plays to our benefit. And that's what he had to say, or mostly what he had to say, because he talked. He had like a 8 sentence paragraph worth of words that I just did not think it was worth reading the whole thing. But that's what he had to say, man. Essentially, he signed him because of his ability and skill set, his athletic ability and his skill set, and they're gonna try and get in where he fits in, essentially, with this defense. As I said before, it hasn't been that great with William Jackson III, at least in training camp yet. It was quiet in the preseason game. It was only one game. I didn't think nothing of it. But I will ask you this, Dre, because we all follow it on a day-to-day basis. I'm from a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. Where was your concern level pre-training camp? And where is your concern level now, training camp-wise, to date, with William Jackson III and maybe his ability to mesh with this defense and their philosophy?
I have to say 0 right now. Still 0 before, 0 now, because I just think it's a lot of overreaction to William Jackson right now. And I think a lot of it stems from his own comments of saying him trying to get used to everything they want him to do, because it's different than what Cincinnati had him doing, where he played more press man. And here they played, well, last year, that was one of the things that Ron mentioned in his quote, is that they played a lot of zone defense last year. And so they're also implementing, Ron said they went out and got William Jackson so they can play more man. Like, that was one of the things Jack Del Rio wanted to do, because that would be more advantageous to the defense with what they have up front. So right now, to me, what it sounds like they're doing, they're still calling, zone plays, but they don't want to be, like Ron said, you don't want to look one-dimensional out there. Like, you want to be able to disguise yourself in a lot of defenses. Like, you could look like you're playing zone, and you come up to press man, but in a sense, they still have to practice these things. So that's why they're having William Jackson practice this. And maybe he's had a couple of balls caught on him in practice where, this is where some of the things are coming from. Because, practice is more documented than ever these days. Like, everyone goes to training camp, or everyone goes to practice, and everyone's reporting every single completion and every single interception. And I think people just overreact so much to every bit of the news. I actually mentioned this in a tweet earlier this week, where, because I saw there was a tweet where Kyle Allen had just came back from injury, and one of the reporters said Kyle Allen threw an interception, and Kyle Allen had his accuracy was just all over the place since returning back. And then you got fans, oh my God, we should go sign another quarterback now. Oh my God, like we are doomed their backup quarterback, when just a week ago you had people on here saying, oh, Kyle Allen, he'll win the backup quarterback job over Taylor Heineke. That'll be easy. And now he makes, a couple of interceptions in his first 2 practices back. And now you have to get rid of Kyle Allen and Taylor Heineke. So it's just, right now, like I said, everyone is just overreacted to every bit of news that comes out of practice, when we haven't seen these guys in with a full game plan, playing with a full game plan. You haven't seen exactly how they want to use these individuals. So right now, my concern is at 0 until we actually get on the game field in regular season and start seeing certain individuals start to struggle or whatever.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, before I continue, because we do have a couple minutes until we're expecting Mike from the Burgundy Zone to hop on. But what I'll do right now is I will, for those who are here live, I will put the Skype number in the chat. This Skype number is going to be the beginning of the call-ins. I meant to do this early, but you know, when we get to talking, shit happens. But whatever. I'll leave this number here. We'll be accepting calls at least for the next 5 minutes or so. Just have that opportunity for somebody to call in and keep it pushing. So let me go ahead and put that number in the chat, and then hold on 1 second. 3, 2, 4, 2. That is terrible. One more. 4, 4, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 4, 7, 9. Boom. There's a number. Give it a call. That's the number. All right. So yeah, I agree with you, man. I think what it'll end up coming down to, I don't have a nervousness level or level of concern right now. It's still, actually, I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. It's actually probably around a 3. Probably around a 3. The only reason why I was about to say that is because what I was about to elaborate into is going to dictate, like, I can't say what I'm about to say and then say it's no level of concern. So I'm gonna say it's around a 3, and the reason why it's at a 3, man, it's not necessarily because of the fact that it's preseason and the overreactions or reacting to what you see in preseason is something, but storylines like this has existed for a long time, Dre. And what I mean by that is understanding that some people are struggling to adjust to what coaches are asking them to do. It in the player, it reflects on them because you're starting to see kind of the chinks in the armor or what you expected of him. And then when you go to the regular season, it may continue and you may not have the best year or the most efficient year that you anticipated for that player. But secondly, this is the part that I was going to say where I was talking about the level of concern initially being at a 0. You have to trust the coaches. And I trust Jack Del Rio because of his pedigree and what he's done in the past. Jack Del Rio understands what players do best. He's also going to utilize these players in situations that's going to make them comfortable. And that's kind of where I'm at with William Jackson is the player. I do have concerns because I don't know if he'll be able to fully adjust, but I trust the coach more given that he's been able to automatically overturn the course of this defense, the narrative behind this defense, because prior to him last year, they were terrible. And I put it in quotations because production-wise, they were terrible. But talent-wise, you knew they had that in them. So they turned it around last year. This year, you got another opportunity to even go further with the more additions and stuff like that. I think William Jackson is in a position with Jack Del Rio where he can still succeed, and he has a defensive line that's actually going to bail him out maybe in times where he does get beat, or maybe in times where he's not in the best situation for himself to succeed. So, yeah, my concern level is a 3 for the player, but I have faith in the coach that's going to turn things around. I think that's pretty fair, right?
Yeah, but you know something else too. Yours is a very fair and valid point, but something else too. I think a lot of people may be apprehensive to, or maybe they are getting a little worried or skeptical about William Jackson. I think Josh Norman, the Josh Norman experiment is a thing that's still in a lot of fans' minds because you know when he came from Carolina, he came over here and he was. I mean, I guess he wasn't pretty much doing everything he did at Carolina. We had him kind of playing more man, where he was more of like a zone coverage type of quarterback.
Shit, they had him doing star coverage for a minute too, fucking traveling and shit.
Yeah, right. He was traveling with like Odell Beckham and the likes of that, and that wasn't working for him. I think Josh Norman's strengths was playing on one side of the field in the zone type of coverage. So I think a lot of fans have that in the back of their mind, but you also have to remember that Greg Minuski was the defensive coordinator when Josh Norman was here, and a lot of guys played out of position, or they were doing things that weren't up to their strengths in that defense. So I do, and it's like you said, Jamal, I definitely have a lot more trust in this coaching staff, especially Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera, because to me, they seem to be intentional in what they like to do with the defensive players. Like they know their staff and they know their personnel, so they're going to play these guys and to the strengths in which you should be playing them.
Yeah, that is a fact. So Dre, one more thing before we transition to these 4 W's. I just got something to get off my chest with the Washington football community on Twitter, at least. I respect what Jason Wright is trying to do from a business perspective. I have no issues with him. I don't have any issues with anybody in particular, but there's a culture on Washington football Twitter, and this culture on Washington football Twitter, it bothers me, and I'll be specific right now. There are people who voice their opinions all the time, simply voicing their opinion. And those same people can say something positive one day, or say something that's not necessarily in a positive light the next day. These people are balanced. They have some good things to say about the team, and they have some bad things to say about the team. The issue I have is the fact that there are people who would love to correct or love to fight against the negative or not so positive things that they say, and attribute it to them not being happy or bitching or complaining about the process that Washington football is going through. And that's one aspect of social media, or even this transformation, that's kind of it's a negative trait to have. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a negative trait to have. It's not necessarily anything on a person, but just having that trait in itself, you got to understand that people aren't going to always have the same opinion as you. But at the same time, if you have a difference of opinion, don't attribute it to somebody and I'll be specific. It was people online who was complaining about the name process just being dragged out and tired. Like, a lot of people feel that way. It's not just one person, but there was pushback on that. Like, people called some individuals who felt that type of way, they were just crybabies and fucking crying and bitching about shit all the time. And I'm like, bruh, in my head, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, bruh, y'all can't keep continuing to do this, because not only is that childish, but you're setting a standard to, like, block out any potential negativity or any potential flaw that this team may have. And it can be something as little as a process. Like, some people are legitimately tired, and just because they want to tweet about it, you don't have to tell them, if you feel that way, don't tweet about it. Like, that's not how it works. Like, you get your opinions off. You don't have to, if you want to say everything that's positive about the team, or say anything in a positive light about the team, be our guest. But you can't censor people. And I think it's always existed, Dre. But when it comes to this new, and this is the reason why I brought up Jason Wright. When it comes to this new regime and how they're handling things, some people are looking at these guys like they can't do any wrong. There can be some mistakes with this team and with this organization and with these business people in place. That doesn't mean that it's fucking a huge detriment. I just feel like sometimes these guys are held in such a high regard that whatever move they make is like the 10 out of 10 move. And I never vibe with that, man, Dre. I don't know where you're at with it, but I never vibe with it, bro. And like, it gets people in trouble, because when somebody ends up disappointing you, they're going to disappoint you heavy, and you ain't even going to see it fucking coming because you had your fucking shades on.
It's funny you bring that up, because this is something it's bothered me for a while as well, and it's usually the same usual suspects. Like, you'll see the same people that they eat whatever shit the franchise sell them. Like I said, now I consider myself to be one of the more optimistic fans, like, especially with the new regime. Wrong with that. Yes. Yeah, and I give them the benefit of the doubt. But everything they do isn't right, and you don't need to try to tell me that I can't voice criticism about something I don't like. You know, like if I sit up there and say I don't like that they drafted a long snapper in the draft. Oh, you think you know more than Ron? You think you know more football? No, I'm just saying that I thought you know.
Man, stop bitching, bro. You always bitching, dog.
Yeah,
Look.
yeah, man, crying. You know, you look at you crying. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, but it's these people. Like they just everything they feel like everything the team does is the right thing, and we know just from being around the franchise for so long that couldn't be further from the truth. And I seen it with the name process. Like even I made a comment about it a couple of weeks ago, especially when the Cleveland Guardians, and the former Cleveland Indians, when they came out as the Cleveland Guardians. I came out with a tweet saying, damn, see, I guess it don't really take 2 years to come out, like, well, the dragging out process. And I had a bunch of people coming in, oh, do you get a name like the Guardians? And I'm like, but guess what? People are going to say the same damn thing about whatever name we pick too.
Exactly.
You know?
And it makes sense to people who fuck with the Cleveland team. Like, it fucks with, they understand what the Guardians mean.
Exactly. You know, so regardless, like people are going to say, you know, majority of people are going to shit on a name, regardless of how long it took you to put that name out there, because people aren't used to this name. And face it, like I said before, nicknames are fucking corny. Like most nicknames are corny out there. I mean, you're picking a mascot and you have to draw some cartoon thing to make it look strong and all of that. It's corny. But the fact of the matter is we get used to the shit. So if we want to criticize it, we can criticize it. I couldn't agree more with that, Jamal. Like it is annoying and frustrating when there's just a group of fans that just act like you can't criticize anything the franchise does.
Yeah, bro, it is incredible, man. And this is perfect timing, Dre, because the big dog just joined, man. Mike,
what it do? What
up, man? How you feeling, bro?
What's going on, man? How y'all doing?
Doing all right. So we got Mike from the Burgundy
I'm on my
Zone.
phone. I don't know. My laptop lunching right now.
Oh no, you good. You good. You can hear you loud and clear. You can hear me?
Sound went out.
Am I good now? All right, can y'all hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Here we go.
Yep.
All right. So Mike, Dre knows, but when my Wi-Fi goes out, my mic is connected to one computer. So when that shit goes out, y'all not gonna be able to hear me. So yeah, that just happened. But yeah, we got Mike from the Burgundy Zone in here checking in. He was good enough to stop by for a quick second, you know, after his podcast, the Burgundy Zone. That's some good work over there. Obviously some good fellas. But you know, before we get started, how you feeling tonight, boss? Everything good with you?
Yeah, man, just chilling. Like you said, just hopped off the Burgundy Zone pod, just hopping on this jump, checking in with y'all.
Absolutely, man. All right. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started, get it out the way, man, because I know we're all looking forward to that second game and just seeing some progress and seeing some of our favorite matchups and position battles and storylines play out. So we'll continue to see that going against the Cincinnati Bengals. First thing first, we're going to go with these 4 W's. For those who aren't familiar with the 4 W's, it's just a series of 4 questions, just provided to get some thought going. Some thought-provoking questions and see where people's heads at with certain things on the team as we preview or recap a game that just already happened. So let's go ahead and get into it. First thing is the who. The question is who needs to bounce back in a big way against the Cincinnati Bengals. And we have a couple of people that I'm going to read off that just gave a couple of answers. And let me bring up those tweets. There we go. All right. So the first person was Shooters Dre, constant responder. He said it wouldn't be a bounce back performance per se, but he wants to see Jamin Davis just playing and not thinking as much. And then the second person is Stewie Coates. Stewie Coates mentioned Dustin Hopkins. he said another missed field goal, and I think Ron really looks to replace him. I ain't gonna lie to you, Stewie. I think you're wrong. I think he can miss another one after everything that's happened, and he'll be right back here next week with no competition, man. So with that being said, Mike, I'm gonna hand it to you, boss. Where you at? Who needs to bounce back? Is it anybody outside of those two, or do you have somebody that they already mentioned?
I wouldn't really call it a bounce back because he ain't really showed nothing up to this point yet. But I'll go AGG. I think that the wide receiver room is real deep right now, and with them getting rid of Kelvin Harmon, it kind of made way for, look, they wanted to look, hey, AGG, we're trying to give you the job. We're trying to give you a spot. Come out and show us something. Up to now, I don't think he really has shown them anything. And I feel like if he don't come out in this game, kind of at least flash off the screen, show that he can separate, maybe get a catch or two, maybe a touchdown, I think he might be on the next set of cuts.
Oh, the next set of cuts. Okay, Dre, where you at with it, boss?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the rookie Derek Forrest. I think he needs a big bounce back game because he's actually probably in danger of getting cut. And the last thing you want to do is cut one of your. I think he was a 5th round draft pick. You don't want to cut a 5th round draft pick in his rookie year, even though I believe he would go to the practice squad. But I would just like to see him have a bounce back game because you want to avoid that. You want to keep your draft picks. You don't want to make that draft pick feel like a waste. But I did think he had a pretty poor showing for his first preseason game. I think he has to bounce back this week.
Hey, that is a really good one. So I'm gonna scratch mine. Because it was actually Jamin. And it was gonna be William Jackson after I started reading into Ron Rivera's quotes. But I actually think it is. I actually think Derek is a good one because that was the one person that stood out to me after the game and just seeing how lost he was. And I don't think it was necessarily his fault. I just think the game was too fast for him. It was like a fucking shock as soon as it happened. Like he just didn't know. He had no idea how fast these people was. Like he was right there, 2 yards away from somebody couldn't get a hand on him. So I think Derek Forrest is a really good one, Dre, and I'm gonna just back you on that one.
And the safety room is deep.
Yeah. And obviously AGG, like you said, Mike, is just a situation where it is deep, just like a safety position. And you being able to outperform Steven Sims and Dax Milne, it's not going to be hard in the grand scheme of things when you're comparing these guys, but you got to do it. Like, it's going to be hard for him, so he has to show that he can really show out. Okay, all right. So the second question was, what do you need to see from the starting offense to give them a positive grade on Friday? And we'll go with the same thing. Same questions, or excuse me, same responses. Somebody from Twitter, we have Cole Killer, a frequent responder as well. Get in the end zone multiple times if afforded the opportunity. And secondly, Big Brussels, he stated he'd like to see a couple big chunk runs from actually Gibson and see the O-line open some things up. So that's what the top two responses were. Fellas, I'm going to hand it to you all. Mike, you get the stab again, big dog. You are the guest. Where you at with this one?
Yeah, I like that first response that the dude on Twitter had, where I think they need to move the ball, maybe put up a touchdown. The first team offense, whoever that first team offense is, need to at least put up a touchdown. I know they got inside the red zone or at least within field goal range last time, and Hopkins came out there and screwed it up. So I definitely want to see them put some points on the board. Fitzmagic go out there, have more control of the offense, get more than like 1 or 2 first downs on the drive. And yeah, just like I said, put some points on the board.
Okay.
For me, I think the biggest thing I want to see is just the passing game in general looks strong, because that's the biggest question mark on the team is the passing game this year. That's what everyone talks about. This team's going to have success. You got to get good play out of the quarterback position. So I want to see this week, I want to see Ryan Fitzpatrick. I want to see Taylor Heineken, even Kyle Allen. I want to see these guys go out there and look cohesive with the receivers and let these guys go out there and make plays. And if the passing game looks strong, they'll definitely get a positive grade out of me.
So I'm going to preface this by saying I'm assuming they're starting at least a quarter and a half. And I'm going to take that into account with what you're saying as well, both of y'all. So we're saying this, assuming there's at least starting some significant amount of time. With that being said, fellas, I'm going with a couple things, man. But they're all under one umbrella. And it's I need to see at least 2 scores. Definitely one being a touchdown. So at least 10 points. Put it that way. At least 10 points from the offense, the starting offense. But secondly, within those 10 points that we're seeing, I need to see this cohesion on the offense, at least some type of cohesion, which means no errors, no mental errors, no missed assignments, things like that. Like if you get beat one-on-one or your man beats you, that's one thing. But we're talking about missed blocks, or we're talking about drop passes, things like that, or we're talking about terrible throws or misreads. That's what I mean by not lack of cohesion and just not being sharp in itself. Like that's the one thing I don't want to see against the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you come out of that with 10 points, and you're looking at least together and have some chemistry going, I'm perfectly fine with that. You can have 4 possessions and go 2 for 4, and that'll be okay. Or have 5 and go 2 for 5, that'll be okay. It's preseason, but just none of the mental errors where you're solely responsible for it, and that's kind of where I'm at on the offensive side. To get a positive grade, I guess. Okay, so the win. When should we expect John Bostic's leash to shorten? Fellas, as we know, that Patriots game was not kind to John Bostic, man. I think Pro Football Focus had him like a 20-something in the grade scale for his tackling, and that's just downright fucking terrible. Like, there's no getting around it. It was awful, fellas. So as always, I'll go ahead and get the responses from Twitter right quick. And with that being said, where is he at? Oh, George Carmi. G. Carmi. He said he doesn't think John Bostic's leash is short at all. And he said, in fact, he may be MLB number 1. He has the smarts to let Davis tinker in the Mike game. And if JD Jamin doesn't show enough progress, Bostic will slide into Mike and Davis bump into Will. That was a really thoughtful response. Secondly, somebody who's on the polar opposite, Spider Strict said mid-season, but I think he's going to stick around even after he's not starting because Ron clearly loves him in the locker room. And that second part with loving him in the locker room and the leadership aspect, a few people responded by saying that. I'm thinking that he's not going to actually get replaced at all, or his leash isn't going to get shortened at all. So, hand it to you, Mike. Do you expect John Bostic's leash to get shortened at all?
No, I actually agree with George. I think he hit it spot on where Ron Rivera's already talked about his leadership, how he's great in the locker room. He's great at teaching the young guys, all the young players. Even the vets love him. He's kind of like one of the low-key leaders in the locker room and on the team. And he also hit it on the head where if, say, Jamin Davis ain't really developing like he should be at the position, you can always slide Bostic in there, that middle linebacker, swap Jamin Davis to the Will. That actually bodes well for us anyway because Jamin Davis can run with the running backs. He can run with the tight ends. He can run sideline to sideline and kind of be like that free playing linebacker that we all know he can be. But with that being said, I want to keep Jamin Davis in the middle. I want him to grow, develop, and kind of get a feel for the game. So, yeah, I just think that John Bostic is here to stay until maybe next year when we can kind of get a replacement in here for him.
Okay. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, no, I think as far as Jamin Davis goes in the middle, I don't think he's in danger of losing that Mike spot just yet because I think they're going to let him get a little bit of time to grow into the position. But I think if it becomes a concern in the regular season, then I think you'll see them go to a John Bostic. Now, as far as his leash goes, John Bostic, I don't think his leash is so much so that he's in danger of getting cut. And I think right now, I don't think the leash is short at all for even losing his position right now where he is on linebacker. And I don't think that's going to happen until you get a Khaleke Hudson showing something. Like when Khaleke Hudson starts to show something, then that's when John Bostic's leash will get a little bit shorter. But as of right now, I don't think John Bostic is in any danger of losing either his position or his spot on the team at all.
Dre, man, This is incredible. First and foremost, I'm gonna struggle with this one, but Bilksum, thank you for the follow. That was the hardest thing I've had to do all day. Bilksum, thank you for the follow. Amani, what's going on, boss? I didn't even see you checked in for a second. Kickoff is actually tomorrow. So it's a Friday night game, 8 p.m. Eastern. So that'll be 5 o'clock your time. I believe you're on the West Coast. So that is. Dre, let me go back to you, man. You were spot on with your point because the thing that I was going to say is the fact that it doesn't matter. There is no depth behind Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb, and John Bostic right now to begin with. So even if John Bostic struggled, Khaleke Hudson will have to show something major to say, you know what, I think we can start to think about elevating him into a starting role. And he's not there yet. That's the first thing. The second thing is, Mike, I had said something initially because I thought about it. Jamin Davis was struggling initially in his first game too, and I'm not going to say this is who he is, right, Mike? But at the same time, I think he struggled a little bit in that passing game, trying to understand it and have like situational awareness of where he's at on the field in the drop back game as a linebacker. So I think that's one of the things that he struggled with, and it may have been an eye opener for him in terms of where he can improve at. But obviously we know that he's a really good cover backer and he's pretty fast, so he can make up for some things. But I just think that with all this being said and accumulation of everything that's going on with that position, I agree with George. His lease is not shortening up no time soon. I don't even think I think it'll end up being the end of the season if they end up making a move for a guy like John Bostic, like letting him go or cutting him. So that's kind of where I'm at with it too, man.
Right.
All right. Last thing. It is last thing. Okay. Last thing. It's the why. And it'll go as, why will Kyle Allen challenge Heineke for the QB2 spot? And the question is phrased for people to make the argument for. Just to challenge people, so you know where they at with a guy like Heineke and where they at with Allen. A lot of people, I mean, as we know, a lot of people love them some Heineke, but you got to take into account if he hasn't been playing that great in practice, and his preseason game wasn't something outstanding. You have to beg the question, what can Kyle Allen do to take over that number 2 spot? And with that being said, I like this response. I'm gonna say that one for the last one. So he said, Cole Killer, he has shown more within the offense. Heineke is better at improvisation. I think they prefer a guy who can run the system the way it's designed. That's one from Cole Killer. And then secondly is George Carmi again. G Carmi 21. He said Kyle is just as physically talented as Heineke and has more experience in the offense, including starting experience. Physically, he's bigger too. And then he dropped a GIF and he said, or GIF, whatever it is. That being said, and had the Spider-Man GIF of both Spider-Mans point to each other. They really are the same person. But with that being said, I'll hand it over to you, Mike. Where are you at with this one? What's the argument that you can make for Kyle Allen to take over that number 2 spot over Heineke?
Sheesh. I think that he can come out in this Bengals game and kind of show command of the offense, kind of show that, even though it is the preseason, show that obviously he knows the offense, but show that he can kind of stretch the field like the way that Scott Turner wants to stretch the field. Maybe, like you said, some downfield shots. Show that he can move around with his legs. Show that he's kind of away from the injury a little bit. Show some mobility. Show that he kind of has that improvisation that Taylor Heineke kind of plays with. And lastly, I think that he can. What else could he do? That's pretty much it. Just kind of show that he can show that improv skills that Heineke has, and come out and show that he can kind of push the ball down the field and not be that same Kyle Allen that has the rap of the turnover machine that he has put out there.
Hey, that's fair, especially with given the situation. We're talking about backups here, but Dre, I'll hand it to you.
Well, I think first things first is he has to prove he can stay healthy. I mean, as much as people talk about Heineke, leaving out of every game he plays in, Kyle Allen has been, he hurt his ankle last year, then he got hurt again in training camp, and he's missed some time. And right now, I mean, as much as people kind of, making about Heineke's practice or whatever, Ron still doesn't give any indication that he's lost any kind of faith in Heineke for the backup spot at number 2. And plus, he's taking most of the reps. But for Kyle Allen to take that spot over, I think he has to prove that he can stay healthy. He has to be able to stay on the field. And he also, I think he just has to look much better than Heineke in these last 2 preseason games. Like when he comes out there, he has to really, really minimize mistakes. And I agree with Mike in that he has to also show that he can stretch the field and make plays, like not just be a check down artist, and also kind of make some moves on his feet. Because he also was able to do that last year. He made some moves with his legs. So if he can prove that while minimizing his mistakes and also getting the offense moving and looking just much better than Heineke in the next 2 games, I think he'll have a decent shot at being the number 2 guy.
So, fellas, I'm gonna keep it a bug with you. I asked some of these questions are Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're medium, sometimes they're hard. Now, I put all of these questions in there, and this one is a hard one, and it's hard because uh, mainly you're talking about two players with similar traits, and Kyle Allen and Taylor Heineke. But secondly, you haven't seen too much of Taylor where you say, excuse me, you haven't seen too much of Kyle when you say, you know, Taylor's done literally the exact same thing in the same amount of time that he's had. In Tampa Bay game, he was a playmaker, thick and through, thick and thin, whatever the word is, whatever the meaning is. But then it's on top of that, Kyle Allen, prior to his injury against the Rams, he was sticking and moving too. Before he ended up getting hurt, he was moving around, and I think they weren't necessarily getting blown out. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I don't think they were really getting blown out that game until Alex Smith came in and they didn't get a first down, like, ever. They never got a first down in that game. But with that being said, Kyle Allen ended up getting knocked out of that game, I believe. And at the same time, in his brief moments in Washington last year, he was able to show control, immediate control of the offense. He knew where to go with the ball. He also had that opportunity. Let me move this. He had that opportunity a few times to actually push the ball down the field, which actually showed a level of understanding for Scott Turner's offense, especially this young in his development and philosophy and people understanding it. So a year later, he's in that same position. And I think the only thing that he really would have to do that's uncertain from a fan base standpoint is actually show out in practice. Because if you're showing out in practice and then you perform well in the games, that's the easiest route to upseat Taylor Heineke, who's throwing 5 interceptions in a goddamn practice. Like, you can't do that and then show out to the game, which is fine. Like, if you're a gamer, that's fine. But at the same time, there's been other players in the NFL who's been gamers, but they don't have terrible practices. That's the extreme part. So with that being said, he has to put together some good practices as well as putting some good game tape out there. And I think he has that opportunity against Cincinnati because he will be playing. And clearly Taylor will get some opportunity too. We may see less of Steven Montez for those obvious reasons. But that's kind of where I'm at with it. They're the same type of players, but I think it's the practice part and just a further understanding of what Scott Turner wants to do in his offense. So yeah, that's where I'm at, fellas. And I think before we close out, because we appreciate your time, Mike, albeit not as lengthy as we usually do with our guests, man, but definitely appreciate it for hopping on for this segment. Do y'all have anything else to say about any of the conversation just now with the 4 W's? I had any other comments?
I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that someone brought up William Jackson because I feel like it was kind of like the Josh Norman syndrome where it was a good cornerback, great cornerback, a top 5, top 6 guy. Yeah, where he expecting to come in and just off break just be out here balling, and he's kind of been having a little bit of trouble in camp, adjusting to the new system. He played a lot of zone in Cincinnati, playing a lot more man here. So I like that someone brought up William Jackson for him to have a bounce back because I feel like some people are starting to get a little bit of Josh Norman vibes, and I ain't with that.
It's literally the sentiments Dre had before you hopped on too, man. It's that PTSD, man, that watching football fans always find themselves in and experiencing, man.
Yeah.
That's a fact. You going to the game Friday?
Nah, I'm not. I'm gonna be busy. I go do something with my girlfriend, so I wish.
Oh man, are you gonna be able to watch it?
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm gonna watch the first half, like probably the first half, maybe a little bit of third quarter, but
then you gotta handle business.
Yeah.
All right, big dog. All right, man. So look, man.
No, I was just gonna say I appreciate y'all having me on. You know what I'm saying? Checking in with y'all, tapping in with y'all, love what y'all doing. So definitely gotta do it again sometime.
Absolutely, bro. Let the people know where they can find you. And then we can go ahead and get up out of here, big dog.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at TBZ Money Mike 301 and check out the Burgundy Zone. We on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Get it on YouTube. And like I said, make sure you're checking this out. Y'all doing big things.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
So, hey, appreciate you, Mike. Take care, obviously, and this ain't gonna be the last time, big dog. We'll check in with you. Have you on a little longer formed podcast as long as if you're up for it.
Oh yeah, already. You already know. We gonna have y'all on sometime too. Me and Kyle was just talking about that, so we're definitely gonna tap in with y'all, and we're gonna do it up.
All right, that's a bet, big dog. Be safe, man. Enjoy your night.
All right, man. Y'all do the same.
Take care, man.
So, Amani, before we get up out of here, before I close, I appreciate you sticking with us. I followed you on Twitter. I gotta ask you some questions, man, about this streaming stuff. I had a few questions. I reached out to somebody before today. No, I reached out to somebody this morning, and then like a couple of days ago too. No response back. Whatever. The hell with them. Fuck them. All that stuff. But yeah, I reached out to you I need to reach out to you, but I followed you recently, but I can't shoot you a DM. So if you can follow me back, let Maul tell it. I should be in your recent follow. So just hit me up on there and I will rap with you then. With that being said, to everybody else, I appreciate y'all for listening. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll be back tomorrow for the pregame show. All right. Peace.
Whole hard in the trenches, ask a nigga what he benching, triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the